What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you guys are having a good day so far. In today's video, we're going to be doing our summon pulls for this Summon Rush 2 that just popped up in the game. And this is going to be the second Summon Rush for the Folan Silverhart fusion. If you fully skip the first Summon Rush, then you have to participate at least a little bit in this Summon Rush. As well as complete the rest of the events. If you completed the first Summon Rush, then you could theoretically skip all the summoning events for the rest of the fusion. Let's take a look at this Summon Rush. Now, there is something that is very unpleasant about this Summon Rush, and that is the first 5 fragments, and actually the corresponding 10 fragments afterwards. So the full 15 fragments in this Summon Rush are quite expensive relative to the first Summon Rush. So if you guys recall, the first Summon Rush, I believe the first 5 fragments was around 2,100. And then at about 5,100, we were getting 20 fragments. For 15 fragments, I believe it was only 3,500. So a little bit of a tough pill to swallow considering how much more expensive these fragments are in this Summon Rush. Effectively, you're paying an extra Sacred Shard for the 5 fragments, or you're paying an extra 2 Sacred Shards for the full 15. If you decide to skip the first Summon Rush, I highly recommend probably skipping the second 10 here, skipping this 10 fragments at the end, just going for the 5, then completing every single event that's remaining, and then of course completing the champion chase happening later this week, and you'll still end up with Folan. Keep in mind we can only skip 30 fragments in total. The first Summon Rush was worth 20 fragments. Okay, guys, so make sure you guys understand that you guys can only skip 30 fragments. If you guys skip the first Summon Rush, you guys can skip this second fragment bit here, but you have to complete every single other event. Personally speaking, a little bit miffed that this is more expensive, but sometimes when you take these calculated gambles, they don't always pay off. In this case, it's going to cost us an extra Sacred Shard. For future consideration, if you guys are super strapped for resources in an event that generally has quite low point requirements, for example, the first Summon Rush, only 4 Sacred Shards for 5, 7 Sacred Shards for 15 fragments, it might make the most sense just to jump into it and not wait it out for, better events that might come. It's kind of like timing the market. Like you're trying to enter the stock market, but you don't know at what point. And sometimes the amount is just good enough, but when you're waiting for a better deal, then sometimes you do get burned. And in this case, we got burned for an extra 400-ish points, just shy of 1 Sacred Shard. Now, there's also a progressive event happening right now that I would say is pretty lackluster. There's going to be one today and a separate one tomorrow. So if these champions don't really interest you for the progressive event, you guys can take a look at the ones that are happening tomorrow. The ones that are tomorrow are not too much more exciting. I think we have Harima coming tomorrow. In this case, for my alt account, I have every single one of these champions. We'll probably go for Pelops just for the Faction Guardian chance. And we will be pulling Sacred Shards, and we'll be doing 5 of those on this account. I'm pretty ready for a champion chase. You see, I got plenty of Ancient Shards. I got 5 Remnant Summons here. We got plenty of Fragment Fusions that we can pull. We got plenty of Broad Mauls on this account. So I'm not too worried about champion chase. It is going to be 2x Ancient Shards, so it's a pretty good deal to pull your Ancient Shards. And that's probably what I'm going to be ending up doing for the fusion. So let's get started. We're going to pull 5 here, and then we're going to be done with this event. Let's see if we can get lucky. I mean, I don't remember last time. I think this one of my accounts is kind of close to Mercy, or actually well beyond Mercy. It might be this account actually. Alsgore Crimson Horn. Okay. Alsgore was a guaranteed champion back in the day. I think he was like 180 Ancient Shards, I feel like. Crazy, it's crazy, right? He's a 4-turn block damage champion. They were giving away for basically a guarantee, which is crazy. He does have relatively good durability in terms of keeping himself and your team alive. Really good for faction wars. Obviously the block damage. He does bring a little bit of healing also, and the strip can be pretty useful against those pesky waves. You can definitely use this guy for clan boss if you guys want to build a block damage team. He has some synergy here with Jetney the Giant, but Jetney the Giant's just not very good. Kind of a weak passive here. Generally not a great champion, but he has like glimpses of greatness in his kit. Still a very helpful champion against waves. But yeah, let's keep moving on. Not really the champion you want to look for. On my account, my Faction Guardians is full also. I think we got 3 more here. All right, no boosted rates or anything like that. So it's just 6% chance at pulling a Lego. Let's see. Nope. We got one more, a Lady Atessa. And this is the last one. Boom. Nope. That's going to be a Crimson Horn. Actually, Priest Orin's pretty solid. Can solo Ice Golem, can solo Dragon. Relatively reasonable stats to acquire those. All right, so Alsgore for our trouble on this account. We're not going to pull on our main account, actually, just because we were fortunate enough to win some fragments from a champion training tournament. We just had a champion training tournament that overlapped with the Deck of Fate. So there's actually 2 training tournaments happening at the same time. So I was doing training for one, and I was like, oh, they're basically it's double dipping. So you're getting double credit basically, right? So what happened was I loaded up my training on that last day, so we got double credit, and then the points that I got from training was enough to win second place. So I actually got 5 fragments from coming in second place on that tournament. So actually I can fully skip this summon rush on my main account. Unfortunately, my alt account did not get that leaderboard fragments, so we do have to participate in this summon rush. You see here we're short 50. We can finish that off with mystery shards, no big deal. But yeah, pretty big bummer here that Plarium decided to charge us an extra 10 or an extra sacred shard for this event. So it's like, but like I said, sometimes you take these risks and they don't always work out. Sometimes they work out and it's amazing. But in this case, it did not. So it's going to cost you an extra 450, I think. Bit of a gut punch, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, if you guys are running super tight on resources, sometimes you just take the early win. Don't risk it by waiting it out and trying to time your push on the points. So this one's done. Like I said, this one's super expensive. You're going up to 9 sacred shards for 15. At least relatively speaking, since the first summon rush was 3,500, I believe. So 7 for 15. Yeah, this one's way more expensive compared to the first summon rush. I can almost kind of stomach this. Usually I'm thinking about 5. So the first summon rush at 4 was a lot less. At the same time, I don't really mind this schedule with 3 summon rushes or 3 summoning events, mainly because it gives people options, right? It gives people options. It also gives, like, for example, if you didn't have the shards a couple days ago, you might have had the shards today, right? You might have been short a couple days ago, and now you actually have enough to do these events. So I actually don't mind it as long as Plarium doesn't require us to do all 3 summon events. Like, for example, if you did the first summon rush in full, you guys can technically skip this summon rush and the champion chase coming this weekend. So it's not that bad. But still, if you guys complete the first summon rush, it still would have cost you 10 sacred shards in total, which is quite a bit, especially just for 1 fusion. Anyway, having more flexibility is always a good thing. I'm not a fan of this rising cost stuff. But hey, if you pull in the first summon rush, then you don't have to do this summon rush at all. Then sit back and relax. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Not too much from our pulls here today. We got Alsgore Crimson Horn, which is fine. It is going to be a dupe on this account. And yeah, that was my 20th Sacred Shard since I pulled a Legendary. So yeah, that's not feeling too good, but it is what it is. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching until the end. Let me know in the comments below if you guys pulled something cool. Let me know what your plans are for the rest of the fusion. How are things going? I noticed that a lot of people are planning to go for the fusion, about 2/3 of you guys, which is really cool to see and a little bit surprising, to be honest, considering it's a fragment fusion. But yeah, let me know in the comments below how you guys are doing. Best of luck if you guys are pulling. Thanks for making it until the end, and I'll see you guys in the next video.